Welcome back to Orange Nation. Paulie, Steve with you. On this day, Steve, this song was recorded. Aerosmith and Run DMC's Walk This Way. So we'll do all Aerosmith songs. We already did Run DMC.
I was going to say, we're going half and half today? No, we're going all Aerosmith. All right. Let's get to our guest line. If you happen to be watching us at QSportsTalk.com, you see our first guest live and in person. Played for the Orange from 2009 to 2013. Only player in program history to win at least 120 games as a starter. He started 147 games for the Orange. Brandon Triche joining us here on the program. Always great to catch up with you, Brandon. First of all, how are you? How are things going?
I'm doing pretty well. Right now, I'm currently in Dubai. I'm playing in a league out here, so everything's going pretty well. We're doing pretty well out here. So my family was just out here as well visiting. So,
well, we appreciate you joining us. I would imagine, what is it? It's later in the day.
I was going to ask, in Dubai? That was the first thing. Like, what time is it in Dubai?
It's 9-hour difference, so I think it's 12 your time. So I'm not sure exactly what time. It got to be 9:20 or something like that.
9 p.m. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, now that we got that out of the way, all the way over in Dubai, I'm sure you heard the news. So I guess what? The news must have broke while you were sleeping, I would guess. When did you hear about it? I mean, what was your first reaction when you heard the news?
It did. Actually, my best friend, he texted me and mentioning it. So I didn't realize they actually lost the game. I was watching some of it, like the first 10 minutes. And, I thought they were going to win the game because I believe they beat Wake Forest was like last week or something like that.
Yeah, Saturday, yep.
Yeah, senior night. So I figured they were going to beat them again. So I wasn't really thinking nothing of it. And I seen it, and I was like, I was, you can't really say you're surprised, so many years. I think the last 5 or 6 years, you're like, all right, is it going to be this year or next year? I think that's how a lot of Q's fans were thinking.
So along those lines, Brandon, do you feel like the time is right? I mean, we knew it was going to happen at some point, whether it was this year or next year, or, could have happened a couple years ago. Do you feel like the time is right for this transition to take place? I
mean, personally, I probably would, if I were him, I coach both of my kids. After that's like, what do I have to do next? There's no other goals I feel like he can accomplish now. He won a championship. 47 years coaching. I think last year would have been 46. So it's like, what else can you prove? And now that your kids are older, now you're able to go to, go see Jimmy overseas, visit him. Obviously, Buddy, he scored his first basket, in Detroit. So hopefully that works out for him. So now he has more time to actually travel and, watch his kids play.
What's the biggest misconception about Jim Boeheim to you, Brandon? Your uncle played for him, you played for him. What's the one thing that people get wrong about him? I'm not
too big on like stereotypes or any type of thing. So it depends on what you have to tell me some stuff and I'm like, okay, that wasn't right or that was wrong. I don't really listen to a lot of.
Is he as mean to players as everybody thinks he is?
Yes. So they got that one right.
Is it in a way that is a detriment to his relationship with players, or does it build it?
I think it's a bit of both. It depends on how you look at it. You have to be, for all the players who are super confident in themselves, they did really well. Anything that coach would kind of try to push you, try to get you to, kind of fight him. So then now you push it and use that type of energy on the court. For those with the confidence, they'll fight back and then they end up playing really well, But other people, me included, it's a little bit tough. It's like a mental battle that you go through, and you try to figure out the best way to handle it. But a lot of guys with super confidence do really well under Boeheim.
All right, Brandon, along those lines then, take us back to your time with him. And, as we said, you came in the door, you started every game for him and had a lot of success. He's very loyal to his players. What was it like for you to play for him? Take us back to your 4 years there. I
think the 4 years I was there, we were in position, be the winningest 4 years of his coaching span, if I'm not mistaken. So I was just blessed enough to, be around a lot of good guys. He was able to coach us really well for us to perform. Individually, obviously, when you're playing around a lot of good guys, obviously your minutes is up and down. Mentally, you don't feel like you secure as you want to be, but the ultimate goal is winning games. So a lot of players who maybe, let's say, guys who think they can, get into the top 5 players or get into the starting lineup. Sometimes they have up and down battles, and one day they might start, one day they might not start. One day, if they play really well, okay, next game I'm going to play. Okay, if you might play bad that game, then the next guy. So in my 4 years, he had the luxury of having pretty much 2 of everything, which kind of helped us in practice and helped us, be as great as we were.
All right, let's look ahead now, Brandon, to the next head coach. And I know Adrian Autry came back to Syracuse right in the middle of your college career, right? About midway through, he came back as an assistant from Virginia Tech. What do you think about the announcement that Red's going to take over, and what can you tell us about Adrian Autry as a coach?
I mean, he's a great coach. I was more individually working with him in like little fantasy camps. He was my coach during those fantasy camps where I think it's called fantasy camps, where you have like the older guys come in and they kind of relive, let's say, the college lifestyle, getting coached by D1 coaches. They get to use all the Mello Center facilities and everything like that. So he's actually my coach for those 4 days. Now, when I was playing, he was more so the small forwards coach. I work more closely with GMAC, but as a coach, he's definitely a player's coach. He's going to be one of those guys who speaks confidence into you. And I look forward to him, being a great coach for Syracuse. I think a lot of the time, especially when I was, a little bit younger and playing, you always figured that Coach Hop was going to be the next Q's coach. But I think they picked the right guy, and I think they're going to do really well.
What do you think about keeping it in the family? I know you said right there you think they picked the right guy, but it wasn't Hop. They didn't do this massive search that we're aware of, and they decided to keep it in the family with the associate head coach. He moves over one chair. Adrian Autry does into the number 1 chair. What do you think about that? Keeping it in the Cuse family?
I think it only makes sense. I think that's how we are. Just as a program. I think even with like the TBT type of basketball, for the most part, we try to keep it all Syracuse guys, except for the last few years. But in general, it only makes sense, guys who have coached up under Coach Boeheim and able to, kind of extend the legacy, that he had put forth. Obviously, it's going to be different. Maybe Red won't play any zone, but. I'd assume that he'll probably, play some zone. You will see a lot. I think just the energy is different. It's going to be different. It's just going to be a new type of energy that comes to Syracuse, and I just look forward to see how the players react, how the fans react to him, and hopefully he starts out with some key wins. So then everybody in the community have confidence of him.
All right, Brandon, listen, this was a lot of fun catching up with you. Thanks so much for coming on. We do appreciate it, and continued success to you over there in Dubai.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Brandon Triche. And with that, we'll take a timeout. We're going to open up the phone lines, 315-437-7644. I know Dan from Wildcat Sports Pub is here. We'll bring him in, but if you want to check in, we'll take some phone calls during the next segment as well. Matt Park, voice of the Orange at 1245. Demetrius Nichols coming up at 1:15. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
This